Unfortunately, in the next few days, it's only expected to get hotter, which is not the news that those people who have been forced to flee their homes or those who have been told to be ready to leave at a moment's notice want to hear. Everyone, of course, is anxiously waiting to see what does happen next. And livelihoods are on the line, too. I spoke with the owners of the Three Valley Gap Chateau, a popular tourist spot just outside Revelstoke with all sorts of priceless artifacts. They are on evacuation order. We're forced to cancel all reservations as a wildfire is burning on the hillside behind them as well, but they are confident that crews are doing all that they can to keep those flames at bay, and they have hope their family legacy will escape the flames.
We've been here for, well, we opened in 1960 with 7 motel rooms and 7 seats in the coffee shop, and my mom and dad just kept on building and building. And for it to be gone just still doesn't resonate. I can't see it happening.
And unfortunately for the situation here in Soyuz, those temperatures are expected to hover in the mid-30s for the next week with no rain in sight. Farah?
Lauren Pullen in Soyuz tonight. Thank you, Lauren. And wildfire smoke, it's wreaking havoc on the air quality in several parts of the country. Advisories are in place in many cities like Calgary, where a special air quality statement was issued today, with the city hitting an 8 or high on the air quality health index. Here's a look at the smoke hovering over Lake Louise. And with the country's fire season off to an early start, the summer of smoke, well, it'll likely be long. Heather Yourex-West reports on the health consequences.
It's like one lockup after another.
The air surrounding Ron Jabegi's home outside Calgary is heavy with smoke. It's been this way off and on for nearly a week. It's an irritant for most people, but for his 2 children, it's a much larger concern.
So with cystic fibrosis, one of the issues is basically airway clearance. So they're kind of thick and sticky in there versus lubricated like you and I would be. And so the particles of smoke and stuff will build up.
Alyssa and Dylan are staying inside to be safe. Jabegi says they're coping okay, but he worries about the potential impact of a summer filled with smoke. It's something Dr. Courtney Howard has some experience with. The emergency room physician lives in the Northwest Territories, where in 2014, wildfires blanketed the city of Yellowknife with smoke for more than 2 months.
I ended up flying down to see my dad in North Vancouver, and we opened up the suitcase, and the suitcase just smelled like campfire.
Dr. Howard co-authored a study published earlier this year in the British Medical Journal. The research found that the smoke exposure in Yellowknife that summer led to an increase in clinic visits for asthma, pneumonia, and cough. ER visits for asthma doubled, while pneumonia visits increased by 57%.
People also experience what we would now probably describe as a feeling of ecological grief or eco-anxiety. People would say things like, if it's this bad now, what does this mean for our kids?
Howard says as periods of prolonged wildfire smoke exposure become more common, communities will have to prepare with things like designated clean air centers and support for mental health. Ron Jabegi says his family is taking the summer a day at a time, hoping that clearer days are ahead. Heather Yourex-West, Global News, Calgary.